Black. Michelle, I really thank you for being with us, and I'm very sorry, Michelle, for your loss.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that. Um, yeah, it's obviously it's been a hard three, almost 4 years now. So, and holidays like July 4th bring a lot of those old feelings up. So,
What happened, Michelle?
well, the team was ambushed and we were told conflicting stories. And, in the media, we were hearing they were a bunch of cowboys who had gone rogue. And we waited 6 months to receive a brief from AFRICOM. And basically, in the AFRICOM brief, we heard a bunch of half truths and even an outright lie. And so for me, I thought, okay, we're going to hear this cleared up. These men are not a bunch of cowboys that went rogue. I know my husband, that would never happen. But by the end of the briefing by AFRICOM, we were told essentially they had gone rogue. I mean, those weren't the terms they used, but it was clear all the blame was being placed at the lowest levels. And then from there, I kept hoping, okay, at some point they're going to change, but then it became clear that the team was going to be punished for other people's mistakes. Um, and I think the final straw for me was there was a media brief by General Waldhauser of AFRICOM. He was the commander at that time. And he said, all teams on the continent are performing well, but this team is not indicative of what they do. And then that just instantly completely lambasted the entire team and dishonored the sacrifice they made. And I couldn't handle that. And so as I began to talk to the men from the team, I began to realize that a lot of what I had heard directly from investigators wasn't accurate. So I began to ask team members if they would allow me to interview them because I never got a detailed timeline of events on the ground, a minute by minute, hey, this is what actually happened. It was more of a general overview and a trust us, Miss Black. So what I heard from the team was very detailed, and it flew in the face of what I was told by AFRICOM. So from there, I decided to write this book. And in it, I basically tell the story. I detail what we learned when. And then I detail what actually happened on the ground minute by minute. And I give that detailed report. And then I take the AFRICOM's final redacted report that, placed blame on the men and brought about punishments, and I pull it to pieces. And I explain why this is not accurate compared to what I was told by the men on the ground. So I pull that whole report apart, and then I lay out where the blame really should have been. And of course, it all was at higher levels, which shouldn't be surprising. So in the end, what we were told was told to us in an effort to protect careers of those higher up the chain. And so I show that very clearly in my book. And then I go through even just all of the punishments, who was punished, why, and why they should not have been. And then I also bring out the awards and who was awarded what and when and why. And hopefully now I can present that truth to the American people and bring a little bit of justice back to the situation.
General come out and in fact mislead America on what happened. I mean, why did he have such a conflicting statement with what your evidence was? What were they trying to do here?
Like I said, I think they were trying to protect those highest up the chain, protect careers. For some reason, an officer's career matters more than someone on the ground. That's the only reason I can come up with, because there really was one lieutenant colonel who made all the final decisions to push the team ahead. And ironically, he also was responsible for pre-deployment training and everything that other persons were punished for, which one man actually lost his career over pre-deployment training. Those all fell on the head of this lieutenant colonel. So over and over again, I see there must have been some sort of blanket of protection over him in particular. And I don't know why.
How did this make you feel, Michelle?
A lot of things. I think shocked. I honestly, when I first went out to find the detailed timeline of events on the ground, it was just because I really wanted to know specifically what happened to my husband. Having such a vague description of what happened, that wasn't enough for me. There's just something about when you lose somebody you love, you need to know all those little details. So it wasn't to find blame or, blow open a cover up, or it was nothing like that. And so as I found these things, I felt almost sad because these aren't bad people. Even the lieutenant colonel, I don't think he's a bad person. I think it shows a lack of moral courage and an extreme self-centeredness. And I don't think that they're bad people, but I do. I think they made bad choices and did not own up to them. And it was a big thing for me to have to wrestle through. Do I really want to write their names in there? But in the end, I remembered, well, all these guys on the team, nobody stopped from their names being released to the press. Nobody stopped from all the blame that fell down on them. And at any point, it could have been stopped by those responsible, and they didn't. And I realized this was not my responsibility to protect people who had spent, the last 6 months protecting themselves and blaming my husband and those who fought and died alongside him.